is Israel's largest mental health organization supporting the treatment of trauma and PTSD related to war and terrorism. They work with all Israelis, including Jews, Arabs, Druze, and Christians. American Friends of Natal support the work in the USA as well. So with me is Maya Navid, the CEO of American Friends of Natal, and Ron Eliasaf, the founder of Northwind Group and chairman of the board of American Friends of Natal. So welcome. Great to have you here. Now, Maya, explain the mission of Natal and particularly its focus on business and philanthropy.
So Natal, as you said, is Israel's Trauma and Resiliency Center. It was founded nearly 3 decades ago by Jude Yovel Rekanati, a philanthropist herself, who recognized the need of the Yom Kippur veterans. So 25 years after Yom Kippur, she saw their trauma and PTSD and that they have had nowhere to go for service and treatment and support. And that was how Natal was born. Today, Natal treats, as you said, all civilians in Israel, regardless of age and religion. We have a helpline, 3 helplines actually, one dedicated for civilians, one dedicated for IDF veterans, and one that is dedicated for the hostage family and their supporting circles. Our helplines are unique. They have outgoing calls as well, so they mimic therapy, and sometimes that's enough. For people who call, that's the support they need. We also have a huge clinical unit that offers one-on-one therapy, family therapy, group therapy. It's really a one-stop shop where a person can get services that include clinical support, career development services. We have a trauma school of study. We have a research department. And we also have a community resiliency unit that goes out to communities and helps them build resiliency and provide lay leadership with tools to identify and be able to direct people to the services they need.
Okay. And Ron, what's your perspective on philanthropy? I mean, you are one of the youngest chairman of the boards, right? So why is this important to you? And tell me why you decide to be chairman.
My wife and I have been supporting Natal for about 8 years. I've been on the board for 8 years. And when the prior chairman had to, devote time a bit to his company, they asked me to step up, and I was glad to do it. Natal's mission is very close to my heart. I served as a captain in the Israeli Navy. My father was a general in the Israeli Air Force for many years. Actually, one of his best friends, Itamar Barnea, that passed away this year, he was the chief psychologist of Natal for many years. And I got to know the organization, and it's mission critical right now. Our dream is that we will never need Natal and we could close it. Unfortunately, that's not the situation right now. The needs, everything that happened post-October 7, the missiles from Iran, the impact of trauma on civilians, on children, across the board is just tremendous.
Well, that was the first thing I thought of when I was doing some research was the hostages were just released. And of course, that was highly emotional. And then you've got families who don't have people coming home. How did you deal with that situation in particular?
Right now in Israel, what's happening is almost a rolling trauma, right? It's levels of trauma that have been built. Natal to this day still treats people suffering from PTSD from the Yom Kippur War back in 1973. So trauma builds over time, and what's happening now, I think, is unprecedented.
Yeah, the expectation is that the vacuum that's been created by the return of the living hostages and the free time that people have that have been fighting this war for the past 2 years, now they have the time to really reflect and to see what this whole situation has done to them invisibly, what we don't see.
Yeah. What do we not see? Is it just kind of a low-level anxiety that people have all the time? What do you see when you talk to people?
I would say that trauma comes in a variety of, trauma and PTSD comes in a variety of symptoms. So like you said, it could be anxiety, but it could also be violence. It can also be little patience, outbursts of anger. And just, when your mind is not calm, it impacts you and the way you behave to everyone else. So it's something that we don't necessarily see. Sometimes it can be a behavior, but sometimes it can be something that a person carries inside and they just don't return to their sense of normal.
Yeah, and maybe not even realize how they're acting out or how it has impacted them until they meet with a group like yours and they can talk it through. What has been your impact in terms of calls and people help? Do you have any kind of numbers behind it?
Yeah, so since October 7th, Natal has received over 100,000 calls. That's truly unprecedented. We saw upticks around events, so the Iran war, any missile shooting, any news of the hostages. But what was interesting was that over Sukkot, this past holiday, at a time where people are with family and are less stressed out and have the time to think about what they're feeling internally, we saw over 10,000 calls, which is unheard of. So that, coupled with the news of the living hostages returning and the ceasefire, really created a void where people started to internalize and realize what are they feeling and that they need help. And part of Natal's work is also raising awareness in Israel because, as you said, a lot of people, they walk around, they feel something, but they can't put, they don't know how to call it. They don't know what it is. Sometimes we wake up angry, there's not a name for everything. So a lot of the work they do is raising awareness, letting people understand that, when trauma hits one individual, it impacts their families, their neighbors, their community, their workplace. So it's more about, yes, treating the individual, but also giving their support network tools to help them.
Yeah, absolutely. Recognize it and learn how to deal with it. Now, you've got a gala on November 10th, the American Friends of Natal. So tell me about that. What's expected? Do you have a goal for raising money? Will that money go? You can both chime in on that.
It's our biggest event of the year. It's been a tradition now. It's definitely where we bring all our major donors and sponsors, and its ability also to spotlight what Natal is doing. By the way, to answer your prior question, Natal has treated over 400,000 people. And it's not just active.
Total.
And it's not just active in Israel. It's also active in the U.S., supporting first responders, teachers. There's a community of pastors from Chicago that has learned how to treat trauma in their communities. And the impact is widespread.
Okay, so tell me about the gala.
So this year, our gala is on November 10th. We're honored to have Michael Rappaport as our host, and he will do an onstage interview. Really, the concept of the gala this year is the human story, because we have to remember that the people at Natal, the professionals themselves, are evacuees. They have children in the army. They themselves are reservists that have been to Gaza for over 200 days. They have family that they've lost. You name it. And this shared reality that all Israelis are living in is something that I feel communities from abroad need to recognize and support and strengthen our professionals to make sure that they are able to treat. And, our goal is to have a thriving Israeli society. And so we want to make sure that we raise enough funds and awareness to support that.
Okay.
And also it's also about shining a light that trauma is not something to be ashamed of. Unfortunately, many years it's been stigmatized and people don't want to talk about it. It's been associated with shame, and there's no shame. Mental wellness is something you need to treat and speak openly about, like any other illness. And it's not it's not an illness. It's something you can cure.
Well, and life is long and full of all kinds of twists and turns, and it can be very difficult. And living in Israel, during this time, I think would make it even more so. So best of luck to you. I hope you raise lots of money and help lots of people. So
Thank you.